ChatGPT Images 2.0. This is the new image generator that is inside ChatGPT, which is very good. A lot of people are saying that this is a Nano Banana 2 killer, and in some ways it is. Now, I'm not going to jump on that hype wagon and start saying RIP Google, but ChatGPT Image 2.0 can be used in some cases where it outperforms Nano Banana 2. I'm going to be showing you side-to-side comparisons of a couple of business uses of how we can use these image generators, showing which one performs better, and talking about how we can integrate both of them into our business on a daily basis, because Nano Banana is still much cheaper and much faster. ChatGPT Images 2 has some advantages. We're going to learn which one we should be using for what tasks. You should be able to find this inside of ChatGPT. As soon as you open ChatGPT, it is going to pop up and say, hey, we have a new image generator. Go ahead and try that out. You are going to be using it in the same way as you would previously. You can either use it directly in the chat, say, I want an image of blah, 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 or just start describing an image, or you can go to a separate image generation tab. It's a little easier to use in Nano Banana because with Nano Banana, you need to trigger on the create images and then select your speed, fast, thinking, and pro. I get much better results using Nano Banana in pro mode than I do in fast mode. There's more tinkering with Nano Banana, whereas with ChatGPT, you just tell it what it wants and it will create that for you. So let's hop in. First of all of the new image generators, so GPT Images 2 and Nano Banana 2 are much better than they were ago. If you used AI images a year ago, before Nano Banana 2 and before Nano Banana Pro, they were not very good. They could not consistently get text correct. That was a huge problem if you were using images inside of your business, because often the images that you want to create are things like banners, they're things like social media posts, Facebook adverts, or YouTube thumbnails. You need to get the text correct, otherwise you look like an idiot. So because of that, I used AI image generation very sparingly. Too often, it would just garble the text and it would look unprofessional. And so you either had to work with Canva or Photoshop, use AI images and then edit the text on manually, or you just had to do everything manually yourself. That is no longer a problem. So if you haven't used AI images for the last year or so, I do recommend going and trying them. Previously, text could not happen. Now it has absolutely nailed text, starting with Nano Banana, but now ChatGPT images. So do check it out if you have not. I'm going to be showing you 4 examples that we're going to be using in business. So this is for people who run a business or starting a business, or you want to start using AI to make money. That's what I'm going to be showing you. I'm not showing you photorealistic images. I'm not showing you animations. I'm not showing you anything like that. That for me is not particularly interesting. AI art is not something that I particularly cover. You'll notice I don't really talk about image, I don't talk about video, I don't talk about music for the most part. So when people ask me, what's the best video generator? My honest answer is, don't know, Sequence, I think I heard it's good. I don't really use them myself. However, this is an exception because we can create business assets. That's my focus, helping you make money with artificial intelligence. So let's hop in and have a look at this. A couple of things. Look at the official announcement. That is not it, that is me. So it is a new era of image generation. ChatGPT Images 2. Oh, this is cool. They've done their whole press release using images. Very, very cool. So images are a language, not decoration. But I'm going to skip all of that. Oh, this is very pretty. I'm going to put this in the newsletter so you can see it. These are all examples from ChatGPT Images 2, including things like this mock-up. It's really good at mock-ups. So if you're creating software, super useful. If you're making tutorials, super useful. Very high-end images. Obviously, they're putting their highest-end images into this preview because why wouldn't they? Oh, it can also do multi-language. We'll talk about it in a moment. So this is just showing them off. There's no actual specifications here. But I will put this in the newsletter so you can go and check it out. What I want to show you, though, are some practical uses. So first up, thumbnail design. So I do YouTube videos. What you're watching right now will become a YouTube video. Starts with this live stream. We edit it, tidy it up, goes on YouTube. We've just crossed 20,000 subscribers. So let's say I want a thumbnail for my YouTube video. Previously, we'd have to hire somebody, or at the moment, my business partner is doing them inside of Canva. It just takes time. So we're always trying to see if there's another way to do it, to take another workload off of our plates. I snapped a photo of myself, literally wearing the same thing, boom, on my camera, and gave it a prompt. So create a YouTube thumbnail, 1280 by 720 landscape orientation, left 2/3, referenced man in dark navy hoodie. This was a mistake because I actually gave it a reference image. Shocked expression, eyes wide, pointing dramatically to the right. Right 1/3, a vertical split. Top half shows a ChatGPT interface generating a crisp restaurant menu with perfectly legible text. Bottom half shows a Google Gemini interface generating the same menu, a large glowing verses between them in coral, etc. And then clickbait, ChatGPT just killed Canva. And quite a lot of detail here in this prompt. So let's see how ChatGPT does. Pretty great. Pretty good. So it's given me the Mr. Beast shocked pointing. Obviously, if I'd given it my actual logo, my actual type font, it would be able to pull that in. But for now, it's done a very good job. Notice here on the right-hand side, it's created these mock-ups of ChatGPT and of Gemini, which is pretty cool. And then it's mocked up the images that would be created by these particular platforms. Very cool. So that's good. What this means, for anyone who doesn't do YouTube, you can put 3 thumbnails up and you can A/B test them against each other. Previously, every time I put together a video, we'd have to make 3 thumbnails, A/B test them, see which one works best. That takes time. We'll have to do some work to make sure it doesn't look like an AI-generated thumbnail, but everybody is using them and it's becoming accepted. But there might be some things we can do this, especially with brand guidelines, in order to make it look a bit less tacky. But as a first pass, absolutely perfect. The text, importantly, is good. That was what was holding ChatGPT's image back. They used the DALL-E model before. It was not very good at text, whereas Nano Banana was. So let's give exactly the same photo. Actually, it's a slightly different photo, so ignore me. We're going to give exactly the same prompt to Gemini. So this is Nano Banana. We've given Nano Banana, I'm in pro mode, by the way, and it created this. So again, it's got me doing the YouTube point. It's got the image test here. It's got the verses. It has created the mock-ups here. So it has done everything as required. Which one do you prefer? I prefer this. It becomes subjective at this point. It can also mark up, which is really useful inside of Nano Banana. So I prefer the ChatGPT one. I think that looks more like me, whereas this doesn't look quite right. I'm not sure what it is. Of course, this is a very basic example. This is creating sloppy YouTube thumbnails. We can do more creatively interesting things, but as a business use, very helpful. So I'm going to move on to the next example, but I'm going to add an adjustment. So being able to adjust images is something that is difficult for models to be able to take additional instructions. Sometimes it loses consistency, it starts messing things up, it's forgotten what you've asked before, and it starts to fall to pieces. For each of these examples, I'm going to be adding an additional instruction just to see how it copes with that. So for both of these, what should we do? Should we put me in sunglasses? We'll do that. Put him in what type of sunglasses? Ray-Ban sunglasses. We'll make it a bit more specific. So we're going to do some adjustment to test how well it deals with sequential prompting. So put him in Ray-Ban sunglasses. I'm also using the word Ray-Ban to see if it can deal with that, or if it's going to be like, oh no, I can't do that, that's copywritten. Now what you will notice, and I'll come back to these in a moment, ChatGPT is much slower, much slower. And I'm hoping that in this live demonstration it will be slower, because it'd be embarrassing if it's not. They're both thinking about it, but we will come back to these later. From my previous testing though, ChatGPT takes a while. It really does. Okay, let's move on to the next example. So if you're running adverts, you need to create creative, and you need lots of creative because you need to test different creatives against each other. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, and often each of these adverts is an infinitesimally small change, like you're changing a headline, you're changing a single word in a subheadline, you're kind of rotating an element within a particular image. So you end up generating hundreds, potentially thousands of different variations, a lot of work. So we can use these new tools to do this for us, and we can do this at scale. I'm going to be showing, everything I'm showing you today is inside of the graphical user interface. You can hook up to the API and you can do this at scale, and you'll be paying per output, which is cheaper on Nano Banana, by the way, and faster. Okay, so here's a quick example though. Create a Facebook ad image, 1080 by 1080 square, scene, overhead flat, lay on a warm cream linen surface, a modern silver laptop slightly open showing a clean purple and white learning dashboard with a day 1 of 5 progress bar. Connecting to my AI readiness course, free, available on my website, aiwithkyle.com. Around it, a matte black ceramic mug with steam rising, a pair of round tortoiseshell glasses, a leather-bound notebook with a fountain pen, a small potted olive plant, soft, natural morning light from the upper left, gentle shadows. I've given it lots of detail because I want to throw difficult challenges at it. Top left area, bold sans serif, headline in a deep navy, get AI ready in 5 days. Directly below, lighter weight in warm grey, free training, no jargon, no hype. Bottom right, a pill-shaped call to action button in bright coral, white text, start free. And then AI with Kyle, join 250,000 entrepreneurs. Style, premium educational brand. Forbes featured quality. Apple meets morning brew aesthetic, warm but authoritative, no watermarks, no extra text. And there we go. This is the version from ChatGPT. And it has followed all of the instructions. It's even got, is that olive? That does look like olive. So it's managed to get that. It's got the linen patterning. No, there isn't. About downloading it. So it's got a nice linen pattern in the background. Got some steam here. Steam looks a bit fake, but that is fine. Previously, we'd have to set up a photo shoot to create something like this, or we'd have to use Photoshop and composite element by element. Now we can just do it, and it's done all of the image, all of the text inside of the image, perfectly fine. So good. It has followed the instructions. It's done everything that it needs to. The fact that it's getting the text right, that is new when it comes to ChatGPT image. Now let's hop over to the Nano Banana version. Same prompt. I did not change it because I wanted to give it a good test, and it created this. Let's have a look. I prefer the ChatGPT one. This seems flatter. Now, I don't know why it's chosen this angle. This is a weird angle. That kind of ruins the composition for me. It's got the text right. It's got everything else right. It's just decided to do it at a higher angle. I don't know why. That is not as visually pleasing. This is a lot simpler. This is easier to get than this one here. That's personal to me though. Also, I noticed that I used a Google interface here. Can you see that top purple banner? That looks like a Google form or a number of the Google interfaces. So because this is Google, it might be automatically thinking, I need to bring in a Google interface. I could provide a real screenshot of my 5-day course and it would be able to implement that. But for me, that's ChatGPT. With all of these in business use, you're going to be testing them. So you are going to generate 50 variations. And you can generate them in ChatGPT and generate them in Nano Banana, and you can test them. And you see which one's going to do better. Same with thumbnails, Facebook ads, any assets that are becoming creative for your business, you're going to test. And now you can test at scale extremely rapidly. So let's have a look and see what happened with our thumbnail. It's put on some Ray-Bans for me. I think it's even got the logo. Although is the logo on the glasses? I don't know enough about Ray-Bans, but that seems a little odd to me. But that might just be put me in some. That is ChatGPT. Let's go over to Nano Banana. Now that's interesting. Ooh, Nano Banana, that was not good. Previously, I told Nano Banana, hey, I want this to be a YouTube thumbnail. And it put together this thumbnail, looks absolutely fine. Then I said, put him in Ray-Ban sunglasses. Look what it's done. It's put me in the Ray-Bans. It has forgotten the format. It has turned this into a, I guess this is 9:16 instead of a landscape image. So it has forgotten what we are initially meant to be doing. It just failed the sequential test. That's rough. Now, obviously, if I had prompted here, put him in Ray-Ban sunglasses, make sure you keep this as a YouTube thumbnail, like I could have got better results. However, I didn't have to do that with ChatGPT. The new ChatGPT Image 2 knew that we were still working on a particular task, and all it's done, there we go, all it's done has added the sunglasses. No other changes. That's pretty good. That's really good. Because if you've worked with these tools at all, you know that consistency and sequential prompting, being able to change things around, is an absolute nightmare. And you end up kind of morphing and changing between each iteration. So we're working on a home studio. I'm in a temporary studio right now, but we're working on a permanent studio. It's going to be really cool. Part of this is taking a photo of the studio itself and then saying, hey, I want to put this desk, giving it a URL of a desk. I want to put these lights. I want to put this setup into this space. Help me to shape that space. Now, Nano Banana is very good at the first image, but as soon as you start saying, let's change that chair, or that desk is too high, or let's use a lighter gray, it starts to fall apart. So it's not good at sequential prompting. Now, I have the feeling, based on this, that ChatGPT 2 is going to be extremely good at editing and working out how to change rather than regenerating every single time and making a mess of it. Okay, so that is another point to ChatGPT. We're just going to keep working through these examples because it's very easy to scream from the rooftops that ChatGPT images kills Nano Banana, but we actually need to test with real examples. So let's move to the next one. This is an explainer comic strip. So a 4-panel explainer comic landscape, flat modern vector illustration style, friendly rounded shapes, warm palette. I've given it the specific script, the specific wording in each of the panels, plus the description. So panel 1 is a frazzled entrepreneur messy desk surrounded by floating icons of ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Midjourney, and newspaper headlines. And then it gives it the 4 panels. This is ChatGPT. Pretty good. I like that. It's in a flat Illustrator style, which isn't my favorite. So we can provide it with a different style. But the content is right. It's used the right logos. Interestingly, the ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Midjourney logos are correct. I know Nano Banana messes this up sometimes because I create my slide decks using Nano Banana, and sometimes it would just make stuff up, like the Twitter logo. It always does something new. So all of the text is correct. This is clean. This is good. I don't particularly like the style, but that's something we can change. Cool. I do like that. It's got everything. It's even spelled entrepreneurs right, which is something that the AIs often kind of mess up because it's a weird word. Let's do an edit on this and then we'll switch over to Nano Banana. So put this in. What kind of style do we want? Should be cheeky. Let's try Marvel. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to give it a follow-up prompt, which is change that into a different style. All right, let's have a look at the Nano Banana one. So exactly the same prompt as the initial one. And then here we go. So it has got all of the... that's weird. Claude's a bit weird there. I don't think it's got a line through it. No, it doesn't. So it's added a weird little break in that line, but otherwise that is fine. If anything, this is more to the flat Illustrator style. Again, a style I don't particularly like, but you can see that it's managed to do it. The same error with the Claude logo. Again, it's not the end of the world, but those tells, when people are looking to see if something is AI generated, that's the kind of thing they will hyperfixate on. Whether or not that's important to you and your business, that's a different thing. And then here, this call to action with the AI with Kyle.com/join. They've hidden it down there. It looks weird. It looks like his trousers go into the phone, but that's not really Gemini's fault. I'm going to say put that in Marvel style to see what happens. But I think, again, I prefer, especially this call to action, the holding of the telephone. I think that's quite cool there, as opposed to the Gemini one, which is this weird little pop-up here, which totally disappears. Specifically, that was meant to be a call to action. So I think that ChatGPT takes this one as well. Again, I don't particularly like style, but that's what's prompted. We're going to ask it to put it in a Marvel style. Okay, you can see it's working its way through. Both of these models now go through a reasoning process. So we can probably open it up. There we go. Clarifying Marvel style transformation limits. The user is asking for a style change to a Marvel-like design, which likely means shifting to a superhero comic style. I can't use specific Marvel characters or logos since they're copyrighted. I'll check the style guidelines, gather reference images, and then proceed with the transformation. No need to replicate logos. In older models, it would have just said, I can't do Marvel. Whereas this is saying, okay, what he actually wants is superhero comic style. I put Spider-Man in this, but I'm going to work out how to make this into a superhero style to please the user without breaking copyright laws. I'll select 2 to 3 reference images for the bold American superhero comic book style inspired by Marvel and use the prior image as the edit target. Apply halftone shading, dynamic inking, and energetic poses while maintaining the original story structure and labels. No Marvel logos or character, just the style. It has created a version. I don't know if that's Marvel style, maybe more modern style, but you can see it has managed to adjust the style. And importantly, it is very consistent with the first version that we created. It did not redo the whole thing. It didn't change the aspect ratio. It's extremely similar. This is our reference image. And then this is the second one. That is more important than the actual style itself because you can always tweak the style. So we can go between them and you can see it is identical apart from the stylistic overlayings. Let's go back to Nano Banana and see what it's up to. Put this in the Marvel style. Let's have a look at the thinking. I'm currently focused on transforming visual style, shifting from clean vector look to a gritty Marvel comic aesthetic. Let's see if it had any problems with Marvel. No, it didn't have any qualms. So at no point was it like, I best not do this because I'll get in trouble. And you can see again all the thinking it goes through. This is really important later if we are doing infographics, because these models work out what you want in an infographic. If you're doing reports, it can work out what to put in that report. These slide decks that I create are created using Nano Banana. So it works out what should go on each slide, and that is it thinking through the visual process. Okay, so let's have a look at the Marvel. Okay, so again, I don't think that's particularly Marvel style, but it has managed to maintain some consistency. I can see some problems immediately. It has now got 2 ChatGPT logos. It added another one up here. It's done the same with Claude here, so it's added an additional Claude logo. Those were not in the original. Let me confirm that. I'm pretty sure that was not in the original. No, so it didn't have the additional ChatGPT one here, and it's adjusted This Changes Everything headline to a Claude logo. These are small details, but these are the kind of things that would force me to regenerate or to edit, whereas ChatGPT just nailed it out of the gate. These small little details are going to trip you up, whether you're using the graphical user interface to generate one by one, or if you're using the API to generate en masse. With Nano Banana, you are going to have to put additional checks in place, which slows you down. It costs you money. Nano Banana is much cheaper. It's also older, so it's good to have options. Let's move on to the 4th example we're going to go through, which is an event poster. 2:3 aspect ratio, approximately 12,000 by 18,000. Top half, a dramatic minimalist illustration of a sunrise over the Mediterranean Sea, rendered in gradient shades of deep navy. At the top, fading through coral into warm peach at the horizon, a single silhouetted figure with a laptop at the edge of a rooftop looking out at the dawn. Based on the fact that I am living in Cyprus now and we wanted to add a little Mediterranean look into it. Bottom right corner, a functional QR code in deep navy and cream that encodes the URL ai-with-kyle.com/join. Scan to join the free 5-day challenge. This is cool. This is really cool. So this is what ChatGPT came out with. Let me save it and then bring it up full screen for you. There we go. So that is the poster. It seems to think I'm in, oh my God, Santorini, but that is fine. It looks pretty. It's got the Mediterranean. It's actually quite tasteful, which I'm surprised by. Most importantly though, this QR code right here, I tested it out earlier. It works. That leads to ai-with-kyle.com. So it generated a QR code for me and it embedded that QR code into the poster, which is extremely cool. Very, very, very cool. Let's have a look at the same version in Nano Banana. So I give it exactly the same prompt and it's created this. Now, for some reason, he's standing up, a single silhouetted figure with a laptop at the edge of a rooftop looking out over the dawn. So it does not specify he should be sitting down. That said, to me, sitting down with a laptop makes more sense. Like logically, we don't stand around working on our laptops. So ChatGPT has made the decision, okay, let's sit him on the edge of the rooftop. I think makes more sense because I look at that and I'm like, what's he doing? This is the Nano Banana version, 0 hype, 0 BS, just signal. This QR code does not work. It is hallucinated, made up a QR code that does not function. That is an advantage that the new ChatGPT has. It can, and it has, created a QR code, worked out what that looks like, and then embedded it into my image. Nano Banana has gone ahead and just made something up, which does not work. If you are on the live and you want to check that for me, please do. I checked it earlier and it did not work for me, but if it does for you, fantastic, tell me. But for me, that was a fake code. So again, I think the new ChatGPT just edges it out. I think that's quite nice looking. It's quite aesthetic. So I'm impressed with that again. So that's 4 for 4 for ChatGPT. Let's go on to the final one. I've got a problem apparently. 1 second. We do have a problem. Oh, yeah, very annoying. 1 second. So everybody. Okay, there we go. I'm going to quickly walk through that again. Sorry for anyone who's on the live. That's very annoying. The screen froze. So the 4th example here is working through a poster. So I've got the same prompt, which has gone to both ChatGPT and to Google's Nano Banana. It's a vertical event poster, 2:3 aspect ratio, and dramatic minimalist illustration of a sunrise over a Mediterranean Sea, because I'm now based in Cyprus, so I thought this would be fun. In the bottom right-hand corner, a functional QR code in a deep navy. This is a new feature that works in ChatGPT, and I wanted to test it out. This is the poster that it generated for me. I'm going to pull up a full version of this. Pretty aesthetic. I like the image of this. It follows the instructions very closely. Importantly, on the bottom right-hand side as well, this QR code is functional. You can try it if you're watching right now. Get your phone out, point it at that, and it will take you to a link. That's really cool. That is an example of ChatGPT working through the thinking before it generates the image. It's gone ahead, created a QR code, and then embedded it into this poster. Really cool. Now, if we come over to the Google version, this is Nano Banana's version, exactly the same prompt. A couple of weird things here. I don't like this image as much. He is standing up, which is a weird choice. The prompt does not specify whether he's standing or sitting, so some of that is my fault. But that's just a weird look, and it doesn't look very Mediterranean, whereas this certainly does. You can see on the left-hand side, this is a very kind of Santorini-style arch on top of a building. Even these trees and these bushes are very Mediterranean looking, whereas here, could be anywhere. There's a bizarrely flat roof, and he's standing up with a laptop, which is just kind of a weird thing to do. And this QR code does not work. So Nano Banana said, oh, cool, he wants a QR code. I don't really know how to do that, but sure, I'll just give it a go. If we look at the thinking, let's see what it says about the QR code. Nothing. QR code. So it did not think about whether or not it should generate a QR code. All right, let's see if we can find the thinking chain here. So the first thing that ChatGPT did, create a functional QR code. It decided that was the most important thing to do before it generated anything else, to create a QR code that it could embed into the poster. So it did, I'll create a QR code with Python, leveraging the library. I'll pass it along as a reference. It worked, embedded, and put that into the poster. Very cool. Nano Banana did not do that. So again, ChatGPT wins, 4 out of 4. Now I'm going to move on to the most complicated example. This is a very cool example. I have not actually checked the Nano Banana to see if it managed to do this yet. So this is going to be a surprise for me. What I did was I gave it a past newsletter. This was Monday's newsletter, a full article. It's got images, lots of information. I wrote all of this up about whether or not Opus 4.7 was a flop or a big success. This is a whole article. What I've done a very lazy prompt. I've said, here is the article. Can you convert this into a LinkedIn carousel? AI with Kyle branding. That's it. I did not give it any of the information. So it had to go and pull the article contents itself, and it did. So for 24 seconds, and then absolutely here's a LinkedIn carousel version with AI with Kyle. So what it did first was it pulled it and it created the slides and decided what should be in each slide. Very cool. It did not go ahead and generate immediately. So what I had to say was, yeah, generate the images. This is very cool. It generated them all. So this is really cool. ChatGPT went ahead, and I'm having problems today. Sorry, guys. Okay, so with this test, I put in the newsletter and I allow ChatGPT to go and find the content itself. I gave it a very simple prompt, which was basically turn this into a LinkedIn carousel. ChatGPT went off, it went into my site, it read everything that it needed to. I did it on my own site, you could do it on any site. For me, it was a pre-existing newsletter. So it decided what should be in each of these slides. I then had to give it a supplementary prompt, which was, hey, generate the image. I kind of asked you to, but it didn't. So it went ahead, generated the image, and it has generated all 10 of the images. So I didn't have to say, do one, now do the second, now do the third. It just went ahead and did everything. So this has created me. I haven't given any design tips, so I would try to give it my branding. This is, for me, created a 10-slide LinkedIn carousel off the back of one particular article. If you hook up to the API, you can set up automation so that every time you publish something, every time you publish an article or whatever, you'll be able to generate these kind of LinkedIn carousels, send them off into social media, pointing back to your article. For your business, super valuable. And these are great. Now, I have not looked to see what Nano Banana did. So this is going to be a surprise to me. Let's go over and have a look. So it has been able to go and get the article. That's the first part. So it went through and it's like, okay, these are the images that we should have. Then I said, generate the images. It's done it. So it has done 10 images. The first one, Opus 4.7, is a flop. Weird spacing up here, but that's not the end of the world. Let me show you what the problem is. A carousel on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever needs to be self-contained. It needs to be something that has the information in it. So notice that this one in ChatGPT follows a bit of a narrative. It says, something feels off. Over the last months, many power users felt Claude got worse. More tokens, less substance, tighter limits sooner, then Opus 4.7 drops. We go over to this one, and we just have 4.6 sad robot goes to 4.7 sad robot ? It's like an abstract quiz. Okay, next one. The cynical theory is 4.6 got nerfed and then the good version got re-released as 4.7. Can this be proven? No. But enough users felt the downgrade that the theory stuck. I guess that's the bait and switch theory again, but it's not really communicated by this one. Let's look at the next one, the sneaky tokenizer update. 4.7 has a new input tokenizer which uses up to 35% more tokens for the same input. So that's the context here. The tokenizer change is the real issue. This is how ChatGPT deals with it. So 1 to 1.35x, and then it's got some little graphs to show that is bigger. That's useful. Anthropic says the same input may now map to more tokens. So even if pricing per token stays the same, you may still be paying more for the same work. It's captured the main point that I want to make. This means nothing unless you know the rest of the context. Next one is the auto router problem. It's a robot moving a steering wheel coming from Nano Banana and the user trying to adjust the steering wheel but having control taken. The visual's kind of cool, but again, there's no particular context. So if you don't know what an auto router is, if you don't know what adaptive reasoning is, which is the new auto router inside of Claude, you look at this and you're like, what? ChatGPT deals with it. So they have adaptive reasoning equals auto router problem. Opus 4.7 replaces extended thinking with a system that decides how much effort to use. The users usually hate this. Why? The model chooses for you and there's no manual override. The ChatGPT, the new image 2.0, has done a better job at the task. The task here is to create a LinkedIn carousel that requires you to have enough context in it for people to find it engaging. Whereas the one from Nano Banana is nice looking images. They look perfectly fine. The text is correct, but it does not tell a story. It does not actually explain what is going on. I think it failed in this particular task. A quick recap. We've gone through 5 different use cases of ChatGPT Images 2.0, the new image generator from ChatGPT, versus Nano Banana from Gemini. Nano Banana has been the uncontested champion of image generation for the last few months. Probably the last year. They have just been knocking it out of the park. There is competition now. ChatGPT Image 2.0 is very good. So I've walked through a number of different examples. First one was creating a YouTube thumbnail. You can see this one in ChatGPT. It was able to adjust the thumbnail very easily. Second one in Nano Banana from Gemini, when I said, hey, add some sunglasses, it created a completely different format. This is no longer a YouTube thumbnail, so it failed that test. The second test was a Facebook advert. Now, for me personally, I preferred the ChatGPT version to the Nano Banana version because Nano Banana chose this bizarre upper angle looking down, which for me did not work. We'd have to test them, but I have the feeling that the ChatGPT version will probably do better. The third test we did was with a 4-panel comic. ChatGPT did a very good job of creating both the initial comic and adjusting to a different style without changing the whole structure of the comic. It also managed to nail all of the logos in a way that Nano Banana did not. Nano Banana has always had a bit of a problem here, where you can see this Claude logo is incorrect in both cases. And then when we asked it to switch to Marvel style, which it did, it started to add in duplicates. These are AI artifacts. It added an additional ChatGPT logo here and an additional Claude logo here. Not huge, but the kind of thing that if you are trying to put out content for your business, that's the final 5 to 10% that's going to take you a long time because you're going to spend time trying to edit these things out. You just want it to work. So these kind of little things seem tiny until you get this into your business and you need to start publishing. Then suddenly they're a big deal. The next one was an event poster. This was the ChatGPT version, which I quite like. But most importantly, this QR code in the bottom right works. The first thing it did was generate a QR code, and then it embedded that QR code into the poster. The Nano Banana version, on the other hand, a little bit flat, doesn't look Mediterranean, despite that being a particular prompt. The dude is standing on the edge of a flat, empty roof, standing up and holding his laptop, and this QR code at the bottom does not work. So Nano Banana said, the user wants a QR code, put in a QR code, the QR code does not do anything. That was a bit hit and miss. And the final example was a LinkedIn carousel. Now, Nano Banana, I'm going to have to get used to this. ChatGPT Images 2 absolutely knocked this out of the park. I think this is a great LinkedIn carousel. I'd want to change the styling because it doesn't match my brand, but I didn't give it any specifics here. But it gives just the right amount of context in every slide. Whereas in the Nano Banana one, there is basically no context, and it's like trying to decipher some bizarre cryptic clue. It's not clear what these mean, and without additional context, this carousel would not do very well. So 5 out of 5 tests, and I was not expecting this, but 5 out of 5, ChatGPT's new image generator has beaten, for me, Nano Banana Pro. Now, I'm not using this to create photorealistic images. I am not using this to create art. That is not something I'm interested in. I'm only interested in how we can use this for my business and how you guys can use it for your business. That's why I focused on YouTube thumbnails, Facebook adverts, explainer comics you can use on social media or in documentation, event posters, and LinkedIn carousels. I focused on these specifically because I think these are valuable uses inside of a business. There will be other people who are using these models for different things entirely. They're using them for creating art. They might have a very different opinion, but I wanted to show you for entrepreneurs, what does this mean? I would love to hear which model is working better for you. Do you find ChatGPT Images 2.0 to be better than Nano Banana Pro, or will you be sticking with Nano Banana for now? Leave a comment down below this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you, guys.